depending on where you're in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. This is very exciting. Oh, wow. It's lovely seeing faces. I can see some people turning on their cameras right now. This is really exciting. Welcome to the inaugural Global South Arts and Health Week, Arts and Health Envoy. We are being joined by members from all over the global south, from the Americas, Asia, Africa, Australia. It's just a wonder to have everybody here in this room. Welcome, welcome. Of course, we know people will be joining from now and probably for the next couple of minutes. So we can just use this time to kind of get to know each other. My name is Oyindamola Faithful. I am the director for the Center for Contemporary Arts in Lagos. I'm also on the board for Arts in Medicine projects and part of the leadership for the Global Arts in Health Fellowship, which I'm hoping some of you have been a part of. And you know a little bit about as well. It's very exciting to see just what has grown from, different people coming together and uniting to create a project or program. Of course, last year being the first Global South Arts and Health Week, and this year, moving into year 2, it's exciting to know that we have just such an amazing array of individuals with such different backgrounds. Different things have brought people here. And I think that's what's exciting about the arts and health journey. The fact that it's not a straight path, and the fact that it actually takes into consideration your path and your journey. And today we're going to be hearing about different people and their journey, their path. Some have come through science, some have come through arts, some have come through dancing and through the needs in their community as well. And so there's going to be a diverse array of voices today. But while we wait for everybody to join the room, I can see it already happening. So I can see that people are already telling us their names and where they're joining from. So I'm going to just open up my chat as well and say hello. So I see DRC is in the house, Lebanon, which I'm hoping to make it too soon in the house. New York, I hope you guys are not too cold right now. I heard that it's pretty chilly at the moment. Rio, expect me. And Pakistan, oh, my heart is really there. I feel like I need to be in Pakistan soon. So I might just be reaching out to you, Fatin. India as well, yes. And Slovenia, Kazakhstan. I was in Slovenia last year, actually. Yeah, I think my last trip was to Slovenia, actually. Kazakhstan, I've not made it to. Kyrgyzstan, I have. So maybe soon, maybe soon. Namibia is in the house. Algeria. Are you guys still in the Africa Cup of Nations? I can't remember. I have to check. I'm wearing green and white today because I'm supporting Nigeria in the Africa Cup of Nations, and I'm being very patriotic. Zimbabwe in the house. High Courage. USA, Gulayat. United Arab Emirates, lovely. I was there as well in November, and in Egypt as well. Rania, I didn't get the chance to see you, so I have to come back just to meet you. Nigeria, yay. Hope you guys are also supporting Nigeria today. I believe we're playing later today. Fantastic. Kenya, Qatar, Salam, Ghana, Nigeria. Dr. John's really good to have you in the house. I can see a couple of people. Christopher Bailey, hi, welcome, welcome. Kunle Adewale, welcome. Annie Ruth, welcome, welcome. It's good to have so many faces. And what's really nice is that the network just keeps growing, and it's such a supportive network. So it's good to see all of our familiar faces. So I think we're in a position to kick off. We've got quite a number of people already joining who've already joined, and okay, I guess we can expect a number to keep on joining. But I think it's a good time for us to kick off. So I'm going to pass over to Kunle Adewale, who is the curator and global development lead of the Global South Arts and Health Week. He's also part of the steering committee for the WHO Jameel Arts and Health Lab. So Kunle, over to you.
Thank you so much, Oyinda, for that brilliant, introduction. Hello, everyone. Good to see your amazing faces once more. Yeah, I feel very excited about today after a very long time of course, planning this event since last year. And it's kind of warms my heart in a way to see, the diversity in representation in this room today. Just want to say welcome everybody once more. I will just jump into my presentation right away, just to kind of talk to us about the reason why we are here today and why it is very important, right? So, of course, like Oyinda said, we started the Global South Art and Health Week last year, and we're very grateful, to everyone that has really supported our journey to see how the program is evolving and building, a community that is thriving today. So the Global South Art and Health or Envoy, is our representation of 27 countries across the world in the program. And the program is a flagship of the Global South Art and Health Week, which recognizes emerging professionals, expert community leaders, practitioners, innovators, advocates, activists, creative influencers, policymakers, scholars, educators, curators, cultural producers, entrepreneurs, healthcare professionals, scientists, researchers, visual artists, name them, who have contributing to the growing evidence of the healing power of art, creative health and well-being in Africa, Asia, Latin America, and other parts of the world, including the global north. So the Global South Art and Health, seek to recognize, like we've said before, the impact that these individuals have been making in their community and on the continent, across, different segments and different sectors. The envoys that we are going to be, of course, unveiling today. Many of us probably who have been following us via the social media must have probably seen one or two of them. Some of them are born, in Africa and actually working in Africa. Some of them were born in Asia and working in Asia. Some of them were born in South or Latin America and they work in Latin America. Some of them, of course, are of African or Asian or Latin American descent, but probably living in diaspora. So some of them probably that live in diaspora probably have affiliation to Africa, Asia, or Latin America that is yet to be discovered. So it's inspirational to see how we are connecting, professionals and practitioners, in their own countries, so also those in the diaspora as well. The envoys that are being recognized for their influence, for their impact, are recognized in these tracks, and which include the art and health advocacy and activism track. We have those who have been recognized, within the philanthropy track, and also those within the research and policy track, those in the education and training track as well, those in leadership, management and administrative track, those in health, technology and innovation track, and those in health, creative practice track as well. Some of these envoys have really demonstrated huge impact, in these 17 thematic areas, which include the mental health, geriatric health, social and health innovation, thinking about the dimension of impact, even in neuroscience, indigenous languages and cultural narratives, creative economy, maternal mental health, disability, among many others. The envoys that are being recognized for the impact and the influence they are really, they've made in their region or in their continent or in their country or in their community, this recognition will give them opportunity to present their works at the international convening of the Global South Art and Health Week in Qatar this year. And of course, also they will be recognized, through certificates during these particular events. These recognition give them opportunity for global collaboration and exchanges. And we're not just recognizing them for a short time. We're recognizing these envoy for a long time in a way that they will continue to advance, scientific research, impact, of art and health across the world as they continue to support the Global South Art and Health Week across region of the world. The Global South Art and Health Envoy will be hosting town hall meetings very soon, and definitely will be able to announce to the members of our communities, and they'll probably be able to join them to get to know more about their works. For those who might not be able to make it to Qatar due to one or two reasons, some of them will join, the countries within maybe Africa, Asia, or Latin America, where Global South Art and Health Week is taking place. They will join there either keynote speakers or panelists or presenters, or even probably be able to host workshops in those regions. Right. They will also continue to collaborate together, continue to ideate on, projects that they want to work together, maybe envoys from the same country, from the same region, from the same continent, from the same tracks. We'll continue to build knowledge, we'll continue to build partnership and collaboration in advancing the work that they are doing. You can follow our social media more for updates, about the Global South Art and Health Week, and also the Global South Art and Health Envoy. Check more. Their profile is on the website, and then you can get to read more about who these envoys are. I'm going to, I will say that the Global South Art and Health Week is co-produced through collaboration with WHO and Jami Art and Health Lab, plus the Open Mind Project and the Global Art in Medicine Project and Art in Medicine Fellowship. I would now kind of introduce these amazing people to us who have been recognized for the impact of their works in the region. I will be able to share that with the audio. Let me do that very quickly, please.
Thanks, Mr. Kunle. You're on mute just in case you're saying anything else.
Yeah, so again, yeah, thank you so much. I think I don't really have much to say because today is not about me, it's about the incredible people who are really changing the world, and that's why I'm not going to be saying a lot. We are here to honor them. We are here to celebrate their impact and their influence in the lives of the members of their community and also in our midst today. So I just want to say congratulations to all of you to the inaugural cohort of the Global South Art and Health Envoy. Of course, application for 2025 should be out maybe by September, October this year. Just be on the lookout in social media, definitely. You can just apply, and if you qualify, they definitely would just get across to you. Over to you in that place.
Thank you. Thanks so much. I want to encourage us all to use our emojis and the expressions, the reactions. I definitely think that everybody that was presented should get a round of applause. So let's get all the emojis in the chat. Let's know that you're here. We're not talking to ourselves. But congratulations to everybody who applied and everyone who's committed to seeing the arts being utilized as a healing and health care advancing and supporting medium. I think now we can actually go into the Ignite talks. And so the first person I'm going to invite is Senlise Lamini. Senlise Lamini. How did I do?
Close.
Okay, so I tried, but don't worry, I'll get it. Next time we speak, I'll be on top of it. She's going to be speaking about Uzwano unity through hip hop. So
Yes.
I hand the floor over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Sanelisiwe Dlamini Osane, and I curated Uzwana Unity through Hip Hop, which is what I will be sharing about today. So, just sharing screen. Thumbs up if you can see it, that it has begun. Okay, great. So let me then start the PowerPoint. Okay, so Uzano Unity through hip hop. So why Uzano? This is just a bit of background about me and why I was inspired to do this project. And the reason was because I could relate to a lot of the issues that the teenagers were facing. This is the township where I grew up, called Lemonville. It's a very, very tiny township in KZN in South Africa. And when I was growing up in Lemonville, it was a very desperate place. There was a lot of drug abuse, a lot of crime, a lot of violence, and very little hope. But luckily, I come from a family where arts is hope. And so my grandfather, even though he grew up during apartheid, where the Black man was really robbed of a lot of his dignity and ability to self-actualize, he started a Statamia band, which was a little band for the men to gather together and to encourage themselves and sing. And my mom started a group of women that were really invested in developing the youth through the arts, through community plays and various projects. So all of this, in my reality, was done without funding or any external support, but just the pure desire to uplift the community. And that was part of what I experienced at Lamontville also. And so when I went to Joburg and I did my drama therapy internship at Lefika La Podiso, which is an NGO there, I noticed that it was at a time where the xenophobic violence was very egregious in South Africa. And a lot of the teenagers from there, many of whom are foreign nationals, were really in despair and feeling unsafe and having suicidal ideations, some of them. And it was a very hopeless time for them. So, but I also noticed that even though they were traumatized, their faces sort of came alive when they listened to hip hop music, and it was something they really seemed to enjoy. And that's how Uzwano, unity through hip hop, is born. Uzwano is a Zulu word for togetherness. And really the question in my mind was, how can I help these teenagers, even though they're in the situation, to see the humanity within each other? Because within the organization, it was a great mix of teenagers. And I really wanted them to be able to regain that sense of dignity and to be able to see the human being in each other. And music was a great vehicle to do that, along with some drama therapy techniques as well. And so we began it in partnership with Lefika La Podiso and Windybrow Arts Center. It was made up of 50 teenagers from both organizations. And with my colleagues, Lebohang Mohate and Sias Kosana, we ran sessions that included drama therapy and hip hop to really allow for a safe space for emotional release, for exploring their artistic abilities, for having a voice into something they really enjoyed and to be amongst their peers in a contained way. And so that was done, and an opportunity opened up for us to go to the Cornhill Human Rights Festival. And there we got to showcase some of the performances. The teenagers got to be with some professional artists as well, and they seemed to really enjoy it. This is just one testimonial that I'm going to read from a 16-year-old participant that says, Uzwano has helped me find out what my passion is. It helps me escape the negativity of my life. I'm very honored to be in these sessions. I love how everyone is understanding and caring. And as much as I prefer being alone, in these sessions, I get to learn how to socialize and get along with others, and it has helped me gain confidence. So testimonials like that made me really happy because that's what the intervention was designed to do. And so we have, that's a whole collage of the day, how it went, the different performances. It was very exciting for the teenagers. And this is the place where they live, Hillbrow in Johannesburg. And we have another success story for one of the boys who's in these pictures. His name is Patrick. Patrick grew up in the rural areas, and a lot of children are still, and teenagers are needing to cross rivers by foot to get to school. It can be a very harsh environment to grow up in, but he was able to find and develop his musical abilities and gain his confidence through Uzwano. And he then later on auditioned to be in a production that toured Europe. It was his first time on a plane. It was his first time overseas, and he really enjoyed it. So that really warms my heart that the boy who used to cross rivers is now crossing continents through the power of the arts. And I hope what everyone took away from this is the amazing power of the arts to inspire hope. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was phenomenal. That was fantastic. Yeah, I can see, I'm seeing emojis, I'm seeing reactions. And I love the meaning of it's Uzwano, togetherness. And I feel like that's a really lovely way for us to set the tone for today. And all of us joining together from the different nations. Thank you so much. We're going to go on to the next speaker. So we are going to be hearing from Radhika Jain on the playback theatre for medical staff, patients, and caregivers.
Everyone needs care, sometimes elusive, sometimes rare. It isn't easy to give or receive. Everyone needs care, sometimes elusive, sometimes rare. It isn't easy to give or receive, for it does not exist without all that's around to deceive. Stories abound of the challenges and the pain. You uncork the bottle, and out they pour like the forgotten rain. You may ask, where have these stories been? I say they were here, failed to be seen. When some no longer knew what it was to grieve, the tears were missing, but the pain would not leave. Through a playback performance for the nurses of a palliative care, we heard them talk about their missing feelings, which they didn't know to bear. Numb in the countenance, numb in the inside, they too want to express, but have forgotten to decide. Through weeks of work through expressive arts, they opened up and found corners of their hearts, from where they tapped into emotions hidden, for long thought to be forbidden. Like an elusive friend who's there and yet not there. Care is everywhere, but for some, nowhere. They're professionals, medical practitioners who do a job, but they also have a heart, and it does throb. Where do they go when they feel full? They need a space as well, beyond the push and pull. Of those who said we are tired of giving and giving, when it becomes an expectation, or way of living? Where do they go? Where is their support? Often the ball is not in their court. Through our flagship show, Catharsis for Caregivers, over 8 years, we heard their stories, arrows from quivers. Their family and friends taking care of their own, but have often felt like they were alone. When the pandemic hit and they worked at the front line, people saw only their valor. But were they keeping fine? And so we set up listening hours for them, guiding them to speak and find support in that online community of those similar to them, to let it out for themselves and to know it's okay to do so, even if they otherwise cannot let it show. Reminiscence is but all they had at the elderly homes, which with each other they shared. We tapped into stories from their long distance past and let them relive what they held on to last. We reflected their stories and together danced with abandon, leaving behind some tears and smiles, just like the setting sun. When the time comes for someone to go, how do the people around let that person know? As doctors and nurses, what do you convey? And family members, do they keep quiet or do they say? From real life stories that we heard and felt, we scripted a play about death which it dealt. The conversations that don't happen and the regret that stays. The stories spoke about those unsure last few days. The audience watched and then we let them speak of the stories similar that in their hearts they keep. To be part of their lives have been a blessing. To hear them, listen to their stories, and reflect their feelings has been a learning. The journey continues, and there would be lots more to share. Everyone needs care, sometimes elusive, sometimes rare.
That was amazing. I love that was set to a poem as well. I love that we can be creative in these spaces. Sometimes you come into these meetings and it's all facts, but I think that's what I love about the arts and health and creative space is that we can, we can make an impact. We are doing all of the relevant work, but we can do so, via these amazing creative skills. I'm going to invite the next speaker, Naomi, who's going to speak on artistic activism using arts for advocacy. She is a public health practitioner and the Global South Arts and Health Envoy for Ghana.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Oji. Hi everyone. I will be sharing my screen shortly, so just give me a second. It's honored to tell you what I do with my team, and yeah, so I actually grew up in an underserved community, and for most of the time growing up when I was in my teen years, I could just see my fellow teenagers. They were either pregnant, and it was no surprise to see a 17-year-old with 2 kids at 17. And I really wonder what the issue was because it didn't make sense. It truncated the education. And when I was going into university, I just realized that most of these girls, they were kids, murdering kids. And they were walking around with no sense of purpose. Excuse my language, let me put it that way. So I decided that I could make a difference, and that is what birthed I run a nonprofit or a social enterprise, and that is what birthed it. And I realized that what exactly could we do out of the norm to reach these young people? Because there are a lot of intervention programs within the community, but what makes it different? What could catch their attention and retain their attention? And then that's when we started the Community Canvas project. So I run a social enterprise, like I said, by name Faith, Hope, and Love Group. And that is just what we want to do, to share some faith and love with the young people in the underserved communities. I'm from Ghana, but I'm pursuing my master's in public health because of what I do, yes. So the Community Canvas project is basically what I believe is a creative intervention to address issues facing young people, especially in terms of reproductive health and also advancing body autonomy, that they can make the right decisions for themselves. So we look at using wall art murals to just attract community buy-in and to attract their attention to issues of reproductive health and adolescent empowerment. For before we go into the community, before we even do any artwork, I believe a lot in solutions for the people, by the people, and to also for it to be data driven. So before then we go into the communities to have a community survey. We have focus group discussions with the young people. We have questionnaires for the older generation where we actually try to find out, even though we see the issue being teen pregnancy, do you believe there are underlying problems? What exactly do you believe the issues are? And then we categorize them based on the feedback, and then we have a co-creation session with a select members of the group. We figure out what story can we tell, what story can I put together in that artwork, and then we put the artwork together. Then we go into the community and painting of the artwork. But what we do, like I said, the main aim is to provide them with information and services, access to services. So whilst we're having the artwork, we have community members who join, we have the young people joining. It's all fun, it's all participating. It's a participatory approach. So during that time, we speak to them on, we train them on reproductive health issues, on access to contraceptives, because even though we preach abstinence, these young people are sexually active. We give them capacity building as well in terms of leadership in some of the community schools, yes. And this is one of the murals we did on teen pregnancy and drug abuse. This is what the community says they believe is the issue. So at the bottom left, you can see a draft sketch of what I did. It's an artwork or a draft of two students, a boy and a girl. The girl is pregnant. They are smoking, and it's actually giving them the alternative lifestyles they could pick up. They could go to school, they could work on family planning and contraceptives, and it was basically ending teen pregnancy and drug abuse. We were fortunate to get technical assistance from some organizations like the UNFP. They provided us with training materials and also some refreshment for the young teen mothers we were training. And these are some of the draft sketches I put together on female leadership on the bottom left. And we have on our right-hand side, one on ending sexual and gender-based violence as well. This is some pictures from the painting of the artwork. Yes, you can see me talking and very serious. And this is a mural on female leadership and body autonomy. This particular one is very key because we realize that most of the girls lack confidence. They lack that sense of peace in their minds to even articulate what they feel or how they feel about it. And when we had that focus group discussion, and we also had a pre-intervention program where we had questionnaires, the top barriers that they spoke about were financial constraints, period poverty, accessing period products, teen pregnancy, and self-doubt. So we put that in more into a storytelling or an artwork where the young student was breaking the barrier, which was a wall. And the wall shows the breaks of the different challenges or different roadblocks to their dreams. The dreams of becoming a teacher, an artist, a doctor, and there were other how do you call it? There were other professional paintings on the right hand side. What we also do is we explore recycling old ties, like pushing for climate change as well, because we realize that even as we educate them, there's a need for them to know about it. There is actually an intersection of how climate change affects reproductive health for people in the third world country, and we also just to make them aware of it. And we do this with what we call the talking compound. This was an idea from one of the teachers we engaged in the schools, and it was just fantastic. So it's something we've adopted and we continue to. This is our most recent mural, and this was on sexual and gender-based violence. And we are very excited about this because we actually sent in a proposal and we got So we got a small grant from the AU to implement this project. So it was talking about sexual and gender-based violence, and it wasn't just a mural, but it was a call to action. Where on the left-hand side you can see an emergency number for people within the community to access help, to access resources, and also the call to action where people are pledging to take action and to report abuse. So this is one of the murals we work with. You can see the sketch with a prior presentation. We've reached over 50,000 people. This is estimated because we work in slum communities and we look at vantage points where there are schools, where there are markets, where there are public toilets and things like that, so that there's more of human traffic. They see it, and pictures tell 1,000 words. We don't need to necessarily speak, and we have trainings for things like that. This is just a brief 50 seconds video of one of the installations. All right, thank you very much. And this is the end of my presentation.
Thank you so much. And it's so amazing looking at the numbers and the impact that the project has made. I'm just going to ask if anybody has any questions for the projects. Feel free to write them in the chat. We'll have a little bit of time after our next speaker to share those questions. And so our next speaker is, oh, let me see that I've not, apologies. Here I am. Our next speaker is Amy Lee, and Amy will be sharing around Dance for Healing. She is a Global South Arts and Health Envoy for the USA.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes, we can, yeah.
Okay, hold on, let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn you guys off so I can see. All right, so I grew up in southern China, one of the oldest ancient seaport in the ancient Silk Road, where my city actually named by UNESCO as World Heritage Site in 2021 after a long investigation about the names that was completely different documented in the European history, where Marco Polo visited. And you can see we have one of the oldest Taoism sculptures and a lot of different heritages from different religions and different cultures, including this one is quite tribal. So being exposed to various cultures and religions and from different countries without realizing it, I developed a huge interest in the arts. And fast forward in the US. Oops, how do I go forward? Oh yeah, right here. I became an art director at Yahoo and then a user experience director at AT&T. And this is one of my first iPhone app was actually featured in New York Times as App of the Week. And as you can see, the graphic in itself that I designed it was pretty funny, but more so it actually addressed a basic human need. And that's why it got picked up by New York Times. And it solves this difficult challenges like finding public bathrooms. Fast forward, in 1 year, I was running a marathon. The next year, I was fighting stage 4 cancer. 33 cells radiation only to discover the blisters bursted out like wildflowers on me. Luckily, I have my mom with me. She empowered me to understand how difficult it is to care for your loved ones. And this is why I decided to dedicate my life to patients like me and elderly like my mom. And this is why I wanted to take my technology and innovation background to make music, dance, and art accessible to all. We are a patent pending AI telehealth platform. Actually, we are patented. Just got issued a couple of months ago, so I got used to patent pending now. And I was actually being selected by USPTO to be the future inventor in the keynote speaker at the Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander month. And that was a huge accomplishment, like coming to this country, trying to hide, I can speak perfect English, afraid to ask questions, afraid people are gonna laugh at my accent. Now become a representative of Asian American in the US. Furthermore, I also become an advocate for health equity. I was the first two Asian female leaders selected nationwide for Cultural Health Leadership Institute for Racial Healing. It's a national collaborative for health equity. And I want to share a video, and Cody is actually going to play to show you what are we doing at Dance for Healing. So Cody, should I stop share and then you'll play the video?
You can play from your hand.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Amy, do you think you can play it from your end?
Oh yeah, sure. Let me actually bring up the video. Yes, I can absolutely. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
So
I
just while you put it up. Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay, let me just share the video again. Share my screen again. Computer and internet. Many patients like me and elders like my mom are often stuck at home, isolated and lonely. Dancing increases social connections and happiness, prevents falling, reducing the risk of dementia and cardiovascular death. We started with Stanford Cancer Support Program, achieved a Net Promoter Score of 91. Most patients reported 80 to 100% reduction in anxiety and depression.
It was just a great class for me. I tell everybody that I wasn't sure about when you're on the computer. Virtual. I like that now.
I just think maybe I only can dance for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But now, just see, I have some muscle here. I can dance for an hour, no problem.
Yeah.
So really, I get my energy back.
Trauma from COVID and lockdown is in the body. Creative arts therapies develop stability, balance, flexibility, and spontaneity, building physical and emotional resilience.
Today's the day you choose to take the lead in the dance for your good health. Join our NIH study aiming to address health disparities for minorities with diabetes. Your participation will advance diabetes research and benefit many others.
Imagine every grandma and grandpa use dance for healing. How would the world look like? Tens of millions of people would not suffer from dementia and cardiovascular death. Many of you will not be fearful about your parents falling, and healthcare will save billions of dollars. What are you waiting for? Join us in the revolution to bring dancing to every single household in the world. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And so we currently have both diabetes study and also have Alzheimer's and dementia proposal pending. And our goal is to really be an innovator to support all of your work. So please reach out to us.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Amy. Oh, what wonderful, wonderful projects. Oh, nice. Hi, Radhika. Okay, so I'm being joined by all of the speakers who have shared their projects. I think, first of all, it's amazing, but I actually, Radhika, I would love maybe to start with you just to hear your voice here live, to share a bit more about, the genesis of your project.
Hi, everyone. Well, to talk about the genesis, it just came from what I've seen around, what my family has gone through and is going through, and therefore, and my love for playback as a format of theater, and just felt of all of these coming together. And every time we did this for different communities, the impact was kind of seen in their responses and their stories. And it just made us do more and more of it and continuing the work.
Thank you for that. I guess I think what's interesting is hearing some of the numbers of impact. And I know I've worked with various arts and health professionals who are just, starting out, but and I'm probably going to throw this out to Naomi and Sandisiwe around, what kind of skills did you come into these projects with? Did you feel like you developed them on the go, or did you feel like you needed to actually get formal training to be able to deliver these types of projects and this kind of impact?
Okay, I can go first if it's okay. Maybe. Well, I'm a trained actor and artist, so that really helped me in terms of wanting to just bring out the best. And when you work with children and teenagers, they tend to be sometimes their inhibitions get the better of them. And so that training really kicked in to be able to, and the drama therapy training to be able to help them get there comfortably. So it was like I had to divide myself between the person who would like them to meet the inner artist and the person who's taking care of their inner beings almost. So those two things definitely helped me a lot.
Oh, okay, sure. So for me personally, I love art. So I started drawing and painting very young. So it became a normal thing. So like I said, it was more of transitioning my passion into the work I want to do and the change I wanted to see in my community. And even when the idea came and I put it down on paper, I don't know how it aligned, but let me just tell you that I came into contact with a training on using art for advocacy by Action Aid in Ghana. And I just signed up. And I normally don't sign up for trainings on my phone. I just saw it and I signed up on my phone. And yeah, so, and the next week I got an email saying I was selected. So it actually gave me more context, let me put it that way, more context and a more structured approach towards what I was doing. And I was also opportune to work with other development organizations, volunteering and things like that. So I brought all that experience into what I was doing. So I wouldn't say I learned as we implemented and as time went on, but I also had some foundation to build on. Let me put it that way.
Thank you. And Amy, oh, yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, so for me, it's actually a little bit of in a circle. I grew up drawing, writing poetry, and love singing and dance. And I felt that I never really have the art training. And so when I came to the US, when my counselor advised me that I could study graphic design, which I thought it was just like drawing on a computer, that got like was really cool. And when he said it's a fine art major, I freaked out. I was like, I don't have formal art training. How could I do this, right? And he really encouraged me to like just try to find our classes and then to see like, what I can actually do. If not, it was serve as like a general education. And it turns out I excel on all my classes. That was a huge validation, allow me to pursue graphic design. I went to one of the top 8 programs in the country. And I got recruited by Yahoo, a year after my graduation. So that launched my career in the technology area. And then I was also trained in like human-centered design in my master's training. So that took me to the next level, combining the foundation of making design beautiful to adding this human-centered design aspect of it. Like how do we actually make design serving the basic human need? And then when I was in AT&T, like the app that you show, I was literally a designer on the giant shoulder, right? There's a lot of resources. I get to collaborate with some of the world's top scientists. I actually contribute to several of their patents, even including like help them package voice recognition technology. So a lot of these background really kind of helps me bring together to like bridge arts and health, using technology and innovation, but of course my design background, including this little background here.
Yeah, we love the grandpa and grandma dancing in the background. Radhika, I'm interested in whether the programs that you start, do you go into the hospitals and then leave? And if you do leave, what are you hearing back? Like, are they continuing on the practices that they've worked with you? I'd love to.
Yeah, so with the palliative care, the institute that we work with, it's a continuous work, and it's not that we have done it every year, but we do kind of engage with them in different capacities, either with the patients, the nurses, the doctors there. So we are doing work with them, and this is continuous because they do see an impact of this work. It also happens that there are some places or some hospitals where it is a one-time engagement, and that is due to the amount of time that the medical professionals can give. So what we've observed is the long-term projects they have been majorly with the nurses and not with the doctors. But post our performances, the doctors have felt, and they've come and said that it was extremely, it was a session where they could be stress-free. And they really felt the relief. And the hope is that this becomes like this becomes a part of their some kind of a regular thing that can be done. But it would take time, but we're happy that it's kind of getting introduced to something like this already.
Thank you so much. Okay, running out of time ever so slightly. So I think I saw a question in the chat that asked if everyone could drop the link to your organization's page. So if we could do that, I think that would be great so people can get more information about you. And I can see also that Mr. Kunle has dropped in the chat the link to the Envoys as well. So thank you so much. Thank you for introducing your projects, and well done for all the wonderful work that you do. We really celebrate you. Okay, so now we will be going on to our keynote speaker, somebody who became a friend of mine last year and who was able to host in Nigeria, Christopher Bailey. Chris is the WHO Arts and Health Lead, and he's also part of the steering committee for WHO Jamil Arts and Health Lab. So hi, Chris, good to see you. Can you not? Okay, wait, let's click ask to unmute. Let's see if that works.
That better? Can you hear me now?
And now we can.
So I'm actually not on the steering committee. Kunle's on the steering committee. I'm a co-founder and co-director. So
there you go.
But yeah, great to be with you, Oyenda, my sister, and Kunli, my brother. And what a wonderful group of people. I was thinking in the time that I have, I could talk a little bit about the arts and health work at WHO and the Jameel Arts and Health Lab from the global level. But maybe we could also make it a little bit more interactive and field some questions or get some conversation going with the participants. But just to start us off, I'm the Arts and Health Lead at the World Health Organization. I'm based in Geneva, but of course, we're the global headquarters, so I work throughout the world. One of the themes that I heard in a lot of the presentations today is the powerful tool of hope, how engaging the arts can bring hope to communities and individuals who are facing misfortune, are facing unequal power relationships, are facing financial obstacles, societal barriers, and somehow creative expression offers a pathway to navigate through these difficulties, these obstacles, even physical and medical conditions. In order to get into a healing mode, you have some sense of how you might be able to pass through that period. And it kind of begs the question of what's going on there? What is it about the arts that actually provides that hopeful attitude? And one of the things that's been helpful to me is a quote from the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, who once said, "Loneliness is not the absence of people. Loneliness is the inability to express what matters you most." And in some ways, that's the most powerful thing that the arts can do. It allows you to express what matters to you. And if you cannot find the words, then perhaps you can find the feeling through a sound, through a gesture, a movement in space, the framing of an image. Or if you yourself cannot express it because you don't have the words, or you're in an unequal power relationship, maybe an artist can act as an intermediary to help you find that expression, to make you feel less lonely, to get better connected to yourself, to each other, the community around you, and the landscape, the world itself around you. This is something very deep in the human psyche, in our DNA. It goes back at least 70,000 years to the midpoint of the brief life of our species so far, where we saw for the first time also record two things that hint at this power. The first was the first example of art of a human figure with an animal head, something that does not exist in nature. It was a work of the imagination, the magic what if, trying to imagine something that doesn't yet exist or may never exist. And yet at the same time, you also have the first examples of medical intervention to save people's lives. For instance, the first archaeological example of a healed femur. And when you think about that, to heal a broken femur, up until that in the history of life on this planet, a wound that grievous was a death sentence. And in fact, the clan or the tribe or the herd not try to heal that wounded individual because it put the tribe itself at risk. So the things that had to happen to heal that femur were you had to be able to, first of all, imagine that that person could survive. You had to imagine a technique that would allow that person to survive. And you had to, as a group, agree that defending and supporting a vulnerable individual was worth actually putting the entire tribe at risk, that the value of that was of that individual was as much as the whole value of the tribe. And that was a huge revolution. To what that shows, hope itself is a creative act. That moment 70,000 years ago is what they call the cognitive revolution, the ability to imagine something that doesn't exist and to try and create a pathway to make it exist, either through an artistic expression or from the science side to test and develop a way of bringing it into reality. So in fact, art and medical science have common DNA. They spring from the same root in the midbrain. And at the center of it is this notion of hope. I find that plays itself out at the community level, at the global level, at the national level, over and over again, whether it's working with refugees, whether it's working in poor neighborhoods, whether it's working with people in social conflict with each other. And again, it begs the question, why? Why does it work? And one of the things that we've learned through the neurology of the deep aesthetic experience is that when you are, first of all, gathered together, as we are virtually in this conversation, to have this moment of shared attention, immediately our mindset begins to change. We begin to focus and we begin to have this notion of experiencing something together. And it's creating the possibility of mirror neurons, of empathy, of the feelings you're feeling actually physically being echoed in my brain. That creates a connection. As the music or the story begins to advance and you're wondering what's going to happen and you become intrigued, there's a dopamine effect that creates this notion of anticipation. And this has physiological changes in the body. And then when you reach the conclusion, that is something that surprises you, but at the same time, everything in that musical piece or that dramatic piece, dance, has led inevitably to that moment, which shocks you. It's what Aristotle called the catharsis. You get a shot of oxytocin. And that oxytocin is the bonding hormone. It literally reinforces a sense of community, bringing people together. So in that magic circle, whether it's theater or dance or music or a painting display, you have that gathering, that pathway to a revelation, to a new way of being, the act of stepping into someone else's shoes, whether it's the subject of the piece or the artist themselves, and feeling what that other person is feeling through that mirror neuron effect, and then coming to that connection, that moment of revelation and being biochemically connected to the people around you, forming community, forming a bonding. And that's why at the neurological level, the arts can be such a powerful tool for bringing people together who might not otherwise find common cause. And that is the fundamental engine behind what we call cultural diplomacy, in the arts to bridge understanding, to bridge differences, and to find our common humanity. Because what's beautiful about this, because we all do spring from the same a dozen original tribes in East Africa, we are genetically 99.99% identical. When we talk about a feeling of common humanity, we are. There is no real biological difference between the races or the cultures. We are the same. We are one people, and it's the arts that where we actually can feel it at a deep level. And by celebrating the stories and the ways of living of others, that those differences cross-fertilize and enrich all of human culture. And it begs the question, what is culture? Culture is quite simply a set of stories and a way of aesthetically engaging and defining the world that are shared by a group of people. That's all it is. And that interaction between those groups is constant, it's dynamic, it's pop, and always leads to a greater understanding and new discoveries of what can help us cope and bring joy to our lives and make us valuable contributors to community. So I'd like to sort of pause there for a moment, just see, oh, one other thing before I open it up to see if there are any comments or questions is I have news that I wanted to share with everyone. I found out the other day that the Director General's office at WHO has given the Arts and Health Program the opportunity to make a member state briefing at the World Health Assembly in May. This is a huge deal. There are only 5 official member state briefings in every World Health Assembly. So we will have opportunity to address the health ministers of the world on the health benefits of the arts. And I want to make the Global South a major part of this because I believe that unlike other forms of development where we kind of assume that the knowledge transfer happens from north to south, in our world, in arts and health, it's usually the opposite. The Global South have not forgotten these practices, and the Global North is now reminding themselves that they exist, rediscovering them, and considering them an innovation, a revolution, when in fact, oftentimes in indigenous communities around the world, especially the Global South, they never forgot in the first place. So I want to give credit where credit is due, and to have those voices in that brief loud and clear talk about these practices. And what's new now is our ability to measure it, our ability to be able to scale it to reach the most underserved populations, and ideally to spur a revolution around the world. And I'd say today it's needed as much as it's ever been needed. Okay, so Linda, would you like to open it up if we have a couple of minutes, if anyone wants to ask me a question or share their own opinion?
Sure. Lots of everybody's excited by that news. I can see a question here that says from Gulayat that says to Christopher, I love when you said we are one people. How can artists, activists like us help shape the how artists, activists like us could help shape the work in a peaceful future? Where could we all live in a race-free environment? Any advice? So are there any race-free environments? Yeah.
I'm not sure a race-free environment is even a desirable outcome. I think it's fun to have differences. I think it's part of this, the diversity is what makes it very rich. I think what we want to have is to have a racism-free environment where we're not judging people or stratifying them by their culture, by their skin color, by their religious practices or political beliefs or anything else. Does that exist in the world? Probably, I would say in smaller pockets at the community level. Is there a country that is racism free? I haven't. Oh, maybe Antarctica. I think Antarctica had much racist problems. The penguins have not been upset at the walruses, but you know, I think the problem is, I talked about the cognitive revolution 70 years ago. When we developed this notion of compassion, where we could take the tribe, put it at risk, to help the vulnerable. Compassion comes from the Latin words compassio, which means struggle together. And when we apply that at a societal level, it takes a leap of faith. It takes this ability to understand that when you are kind to someone else, when you support them, it is not a loss from you. Your success does not diminish mine, and vice versa. It's a little bit like what Thomas Jefferson said when he said, "When I light a candle with yours, my light does not diminish, but together we make the room that much brighter." Unfortunately, that's a revolution that is still being fought today. That revolution is not complete. And I think part of the mission of what we collectively do as artists and healers is to try and complete that revolution, to help people understand that being kind and supportive of others less fortunate than ourselves is not a diminishment of ourselves. It's actually an ennobling of all.
I hear you. There's
Any other?
Yeah, there are two questions. So I'll ask them both so that maybe you can take them together. One is curious to hear more about how you plan to highlight the Global Arts Program at the WHO Assembly. And then the next question is, how can we connect with WHO in our countries to explore arts and health collaboration opportunities?
Sorry, what was the second one? I didn't quite hear.
Oh, sorry. How can we connect with WHO in our countries to explore arts and health collaboration opportunities?
Oh, WHO entry? Well, let's have a conversation about that. I would first need to know which states we're talking about and see if there's anyone in the country office or in the regional office that could join that conversation. Happy to start that. I think that would be a rich conversation. So any of you just reach out to me. On the first, at the member state briefing, since this news is relatively new, I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Kun about it or yourself, Oyinda. And maybe that's a follow-up conversation of exactly how we want to go about bringing in the Global South to this conversation. So I, at the least, having a practitioner there actually talking about their work and maybe an overview of even this network.
Yeah, I definitely look forward to having that conversation following this event. I think just for time wise, I think we're great. Maybe Chris, you put your contact in the chat so that those who want to connect with you about the regional and country offices can reach out to you and take it forward from there.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure hearing you talk.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you soon. So big thank you to Chris. So yeah, I've asked Chris to put his details in chat. I can see people asking. And also to let you know that this event is recorded. So I know a few people mentioned that that they're having a little technical issues and but yeah, this is recorded. So if you did want to go back and listen to anything again, you are definitely going to be able to do that. So we're going to move on now from Argentina to America. The Journey of 1,000 Miles with Vanessa Simon.
We're going to Gigi.
Oh, we're going, okay. Apologies. Sorry, Gigi. I just jumped over you there. Apologies. Afrofusion dance engagement with Gigi Tonya Briggs, who's a choreographer, a dance, health and fitness coach, and she is part of the Global South Arts and Health Envoy for USA. Hope I didn't.
Hi, everyone. Hey. Hello, greetings from Chicago. I am in Chicago, Illinois right now. Excited to be online with you all, and I'm in the US. I hope everyone can hear me. Please give a thumbs up if you can hear me. I want to make sure my Wi-Fi is being great. So listen, we've heard a lot of amazing just presentations and just all the work that all of us are doing. First of all, thank you, Kunle, brother. I thank you. And thank you so much for this wonderful organization and you all. So guess what we're gonna do now? We're gonna move our bodies, you all, okay? Listen, he just explained the significance of it. And so that's what we are gonna do. So I invite you all that would like to kind of get in the space that you're comfortable in, or you could do it seated. And then while you're doing that, I'm gonna just give a little brief introduction of myself. So I'm Gigi Tanye, founder and CEO of Gigi Tanye Arts and Fitness. We are the first mobile dance and fitness studio based in Chicago. We have several different dance and wellness hubs, fitness and wellness hubs around the city, and we have a virtual studio. And so similar to my sister, Amy, we focus on bringing creative wellness through movement and physical activity anywhere and everywhere. And so that's what we've been doing and love to do. So today I'm going to engage you all in some movement and some good Afro beats. All right, it is inspirational Afro beats music. And so we're going to really be moving with meaning today. So I hope you're excited. And if you feel like you got two left feet, it is right today, okay? So don't even worry about it. We're going to get into it, all right? All right, so get yourself a comfortable area. This is going to be short and sweet. Make sure you are in a space that's comfortable for you. We're going to really engage our breathing, get those endorphins going and all of that good stuff that movement does for us. And then you're just going to follow along with me. So one of the other things I do, I'm a licensed Zumba instructor and a personal trainer, as well as a choreographer. So we're going to move a little bit to some rhythm, but don't worry, it's going to be fun. Yes? Yes, yes. All right, let me see some stuff in the chat, y'all. You can tell I do this all the time. All right, y'all, let's get some music going. Let's go.
You're gonna have to click share audio for us, Gigi.
Breathe in and out. Two more. Breathe in. Exhale out. And in. And out. Good job. Move your shoulders back. Move the tension out. Good. Roll your shoulders. Good job, y'all. Breathe as you're doing it. Good. Lift your head around in the circle. Let's get the tension out. Release it out of our body. Good. Take it the other way. Good. Wonderful job, y'all. Let's rock it out. March in place, y'all. Good. Wonderful. Now take a deep breath in. Now let's forward fold over. Reach down. Good. Roll up slowly. All right, y'all. Keep marching in place. We're going to pick up the music just a little bit for the sake of time. I want to make sure y'all get going. I hope y'all feel energized. Let's go. Here we go. Good. Good. Quick step. March it out. Good. Wiggle the fingers. Breathe in. And wiggle the fingers down. And again, breathe in. Down. And in. And down. Good. Let's take our torso down. And up. Other side. Down. And up. Again. Flick. Down. And up. Flick. And up. Good. Let's go back to our rock. Good. Keep going. You're breathing engaged. That means you're actively breathing in and out into your nose. Exhale out the mouth. Good. Wonderful, y'all. Let's do 5 myself. Good. Other way. Good. 2 more times. Good, guys. Good. Breathe in 1 more time. Take it down. Good. Okay. We got one more short one, y'all. I hope you're ready. We're gonna pick it up a little bit, okay? We're gonna pick up the music a little bit. Don't worry. Listen, just follow with me and have fun. Have fun. Movement should be fun and free because it's your body that you are moving. Okay? All right, let's do it. This one is called brain. All right, so we are engaging our brain with this one. All the time we're engaging our brain. Let's go, y'all.
Can you share audio? Can you share audio with the?
It's on another device, but let me try to switch. Let's see. Maybe I could try original sound.
If it's not copyrighted, because this is recorded, so it doesn't affect. If it's copyrighted, you might not need to play it.
No, so it's my studio music. So I have rights. I don't know if that helps, but I have licensing on music.
Sharing music and make sure you optimize videos.
Can y'all hear that better?
No music.
If not, it's okay. We don't need music. Let's just follow, keep it going. Here we go. Going. Wake up. Good. One, two, one, two, one, two. Arms up, breathe in. In, out, in, out, in, out. Ready to go. Add your steps. Same time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Keep going. Almost there, y'all. Good. Good. Watch me. Step, 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 step. To the front. Right. There you go. Good. Breathe in. Exhale. Good. One more time, everyone. Come together. Place your hands on your chest. Say, I love me. I love me. I love me today and every day. Thank you all.
Thank you. I love me today and every day. Lovely. Thank you so much, Gigi. I love that. Actually, it's good to get our heart rate going again, making sure that the blood's pumping to the brain. When we've got these long calls, sometimes our brains being overworked, but it's nice to get back into the body. So thank you so much for bringing us back into our body, Gigi. We appreciate you. And now we will go from Argentina to America. The journey of 1,000 miles with Vanessa Simon, entrepreneur and artist, and the Global South Arts and Health Envoy for the USA.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, how are you
I'm a
doing?
little out of breath, Gigi. That was awesome.
It's good. We'll change your sec. You're going to be really excited now when you answer
I
all
know.
the.
It's true. Oh,
So it would be good for you to tell us a bit more about yourself.
sure. So like you said, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a small business called Mariposa Arts. And through this business, I founded and direct a program called Healing Through the Arts. And that is my heart rate is like, that is a partnership with my Mariposa Arts and the Delaware Art Museum. And but aside from that, I'm a mom and I'm married to a wonderful man named Craig Simon, who's on here. And I think that's the part that sometimes we don't see the people behind us who are really our support and are part of our huge part of my community.
I have a friend who I remember when she introduced herself, she said, I'm a mom, and I consider that part of my arts practice.
Yes,
Really
that was
powerful.
my greatest creation, really.
Yeah, so I think it's lovely to speak about, how our careers and our lives kind of intertwine with our personal lives. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd love for you to share a bit of insights around the field of arts and health. You spoke about, working in partnership, for instance, working with museums. Would love to just hear a bit more about, what you've learned in your career and through your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm continually learning so much. I've founded my program in 2016. So it's, we're about 6 years in, but it's still growing a lot. And really the partnership has been a huge learning experience. There have been times where I was asked to turn the program into a nonprofit. And I've decided to keep it as a for-profit because I really believe in the creative economy. I really believe that we deserve to make money from the gifts that we give. And I believe that there should be fair pay for everybody. And so I feel like the way that I can most influence that is by being a business owner. And I'm grateful for the partnerships that I have. I mean, our funding goes through the art museum. I use a fiscal partnership with the museum. And so, it's earmarked for the program, whatever funding we get. And that's wonderful. And I'm grateful for that. But I really believe in being a driver of the creative economy. And I have come about through this I've come through the arts and health just through my own experience. I've always been a creative person since I was a little person, a little child, and being creative in some form has always, just informed how I process everything, how I process life, but especially how I process suffering. And about 10 years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and my children were very little, and it was very shocking to me. And I was so grateful for all the science and all the medicine that helped me to recover and to help me, to treat the cancer. But what I found afterwards is that there really was very little care for the person, the spirit, and the soul. And that's where creativity came in for me. And I used it in a very real way to heal myself. And I'm still healing, 10 years later, it's still a process. So I discovered pattern drawing and the benefits of that to our brain and anxiety and depression. And not only that, but also the community that can get built around the art table is so important. So that's what I do. That's what I share through my program. It started solely for breast cancer patients, survivors, and their caregivers. And we did that for a few years. And then as the pandemic hit, and I think the world became a little bit more open to the way that the arts help us in times of trouble, we were able to expand our program to many different populations. And now we're working with, well, something that I'm very proud of. We're doing workshops in Spanish, and that is my native language. As you said, I'm from Argentina. And so we've been able to serve the Spanish-speaking community here in Delaware. And I'm working with veterans groups, mental health groups, community centers in our city that has high incidence of violence and people experiencing poverty. So we've been able to expand it just to a wide array of people.
That's amazing. And you mentioned you're based in Delaware and your background is from Argentina. How have you been able to work with maybe communities in Argentina? Have you been able to connect your practice?
I have not. And that's something that I'm really curious how being a part of this envoy can help us all to connect, to make the world a little smaller. I'm also by marriage, a Trinidadian, so I'm really curious about the work that could be done there. We recently learned that in Trinidad there's a higher incidence of breast cancer for some reason, and that's sort of grown in the last few years. And so, I'm really curious about how I could transfer this to our home countries. But what I do locally is that, I make sure that whatever populations we're serving, that the artists, instructors reflect the population that we're in. And so, because I think our lived experiences bring a lot of richness into how we instruct as artists, or how, we connect with people as community organizers. And so, and that's one of the parts of a big mission in my business.
Love that. I'd love to hear about maybe an example of some of the impact that your program's been able to make.
Yeah. Well, early on, working with cancer patients, what I heard and what I saw was that we were serving folks who were adult beginners who had never considered themselves creative or sought creative outlets outside before cancer, and then went through cancer and came out of it feeling like they had to paint, or they had to do something creative with their hands. And I think I think that just even how what we just experienced with Gigi, the embodied part, is so important. It's good to have talk therapy, and there's a place for that. There's a place for support groups, but there's also a place for the arts and us using our bodies in a creative way, whether we're painting, we're drawing, we're sculpting, we're dancing, whatever that is, we're playing drums, whatever that is. And I've heard over and over again that people feel this almost like a calling that they can't just squash down. I've also, we have a veterans group that meets at the museum every week, every Friday for 2 hours. And they are a group of veterans who are from different age groups. So it's multi-generational. They have had different branches of service. They have served in different conflicts. And the thing that they say unites them is this art making, that is sort of brings them together, and then they can share, like at one of our events, we also invite the spouses. And so the wives were talking to each other about their experiences being veteran, being married to somebody who served in the military. And then the husbands were talking about their experiences in Vietnam. And so what I see is that at the art table, without having to say, okay, now let's sit down and talk about what you're feeling, it's sort of like creating side by side leaves a space of organically being able to connect to one another and sort of share, our what is helping us, or just even process that, like, yeah, that was hard, or. So we're very careful to not, we don't do art therapy. We do non-clinical art therapeutics. And we're very careful to not cross that line. But what I see is that really does happen very organically around the art table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think everybody here kind of attests to that.
Yeah.
Do you work with people with neurological disorders? I see a question in the chat on how do you work with patients who have cancer and neurological disorders?
So again, we're non-clinical, right? So I don't really go into the short answer is no. But they may be having that sort of issue, and then they just come to me. The way that I run the program is that I partner with organizations that are already serving folks in these populations, and they're the experts at what they do. We become just a resource for them because they don't know how to, or may not have the resources, the funding to offer an art class. But we do. So when we come in, our program is free to the organization. It's free to the participants. And we come and just remove that barrier, and we bring all the supplies, we bring the instructor. And so there are people who are experiencing a lot of different things, whether it's mental health or physical health. And we allow for the organizations to do what they do best in serving them. So I don't have any advice specifically to that, but what I have noticed is that that I've learned that I have to be a really good listener and listen to what the populations are telling us is helpful to them. And when I see that there's something that I'm unfamiliar with, I have to be curious and a learner, and really never stop learning, because that is something that if I walk into any situation thinking that I know what's going to help them or what's best for them, it's not going to work out well. I know what a cancer patient goes through, some of that, and I know what that feels like and understand that. And so I can speak to that, but there's a lot of other things that I don't. And I think, I just think it's important to be very responsible with that and be a great listener to the organizations that I work with and allow them to tell me, what they think they need.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this one question out loud, but I do see another question. So we've only got a few minutes. So one, are all the programs housed in museum? Yes, no?
No, no.
So you're working with different organizations to deliver these classes. But finally, I wanted to speak about your recent nomination by Joe Biden to be a member of the National Council on the Arts in the United States. How do you feel that this possibility will, materialize? How do you hope to explore, this role, I guess, during the final nomination?
Yeah, to be very honest, I'm still wrapping my brain around that. I'm very honored and honestly like shocked. I've known for some time because they've been vetting me, but I'm still like learning about that space, and I've gotten a little bit more at the local level in my state, more involved in advocating for funding for the arts. And I think that what I see right now, still learning, what I see is that I would love to be a voice for all of us. I say myself as an immigrant, as a person that had to learn English here in this country, us as creative folks and us as folks that are trying to make this, this space of the arts and health something that's respected and understood. And it takes all the parts of us, right? It takes the research, it takes the medicine, it takes the artists, it takes the community organizers, and much more. And so I hope that that's what I can do. I hope that I can make space for all of us. And I don't know how that's really going to play out, to be honest. But I feel very honored, and I feel a responsibility, you know. And I'm so happy to hear about all of you. And I honestly, Mr. Bailey, Christopher, I'm so grateful that we have you in our corner. Thank you so much for highlighting us and the work that that everybody's doing. You know, before this nomination, I very much felt like I'm just this little person working in my corner, doing what I can in my corner of the world. You know, and I see, but I feel like, you know, when the more that we all do that, the more that we're just trying to make our little corner of the world better, and use our gifts for that, the more that the whole becomes better. So I'm just excited.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Vanessa. We really appreciate you. All the best with the nomination as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So now we will be going to Kazakhstan, and we will be we'll have some music from Yelena Istileluva. I hope I did it justice. Who is the Global South Arts and Health Envoy for Kazakhstan. Are you in Kazakhstan or Slovenia right now?
Yes, hello to everyone. Yes, I am currently located in Ljubljana, Slovenia, but I am from Kazakhstan. Yes,
and I was in Ljubljana.
Almaty. Ah, yes, you mentioned that you did visit Ljubljana a year ago, right?
Just a few months ago, last month, last year, sorry.
Last month. Great. Okay, so first of all, I would like to start that, dear old friends, so I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to all of you. And it's a great honor for me to be a part of the STEAM community. And I find it intriguing. It sounds like Kazakhstan, the nation that I represent. I'm originally from Kazakhstan. That means that there are 27 Kazakhs representing the Global South. Thank you for that abbreviation. And when I left Kazakhstan in 2010 to pursue my PhD program in Slovenia, having received the European Union Erasmus Mundus scholarship, I couldn't even imagine becoming a composer and songwriter. But this, in fact, did help me to develop my own theory, the theory of global visitation and the fields of economic management and education. And history of science at the University of Ljubljana School of Economics and Business, who encouraged us to seek the answers to how and why the philosophical questions of the past. And this, in fact, inspired me to create my own methods, which are called SMS, stories based on music about scientists. And it consists of music, poetry, and visual arts. So this is basically the three components, elements of SMS. And I write about different scientists of the 17th, 18th, 19th century, as well as 20th centuries. And one of my songs that, in fact, like it's only music that is supposed to be today from my side, but just introduction to this song. One of my songs that is based on a poem by Alfred Nobel, a Swedish chemist and inventor and engineer who is more, of course, famous for his Nobel Foundation, but he also wrote his own poetry, and he's not known for that. And he also wrote a dramatic works. And his poem, You Say I Am Riddle, written when he was only 18 during his first visit to Paris. And it's basically very, very autobiographical and dedicated to one lovely person.
miracles unexplained began in pain, in deeper torture ended. This breathing clay, what business has it here? Some petty wants to chain us to the earth, some lofty thoughts to lift us to the spheres, and cheat us with that semblance of a soul. To dream of immortality, to dream of immortality, to dream of immortality, till time today, a mind with power to act and feel, and mirror of the universe, wherein creation's centered rays combine to form a focus of intelligence. Some pity wants to chain us to the earth, some lofty thoughts to lift us to the spheres, and cheat us with its semblance of a soul. To dream of immortality, to dream of immortality, to dream of immortality, till time. You say I am a riddle. It may be for all of us a riddles unexplained, began in pain, in deeper torture ended. This breathing clay, what business has it here? Has it here?
Yeah, Lena, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to present my song. And I also would like to say that really that art that has the power to change the way we see the world and awakening us to different and new together regardless their background. So I believe that the music can also change many things, and it has a healing power. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know, that music just kind of washed over me. So I just feel really calm and very, very grateful for all that's happened this, for me now evening, for some of you maybe morning or a bit later on in the day. We're now going to move on to, we're actually approaching the end of this wonderful event, and I'm going to hand over to Annie Ruth, who is an art educator and community leader, and who is also the Global South Arts and Health Envoy for USA, to give us the closing remarks. Let me invite you to unmute yourself, Annie.
There we go. All right, there we go. I am so excited about this whole session in general because, when we look at art, it is actually that vehicle that changes the world, changes perceptions, allows us to even have more cross-cultural dialogue. If we were to say, art is that universal language that connects us in. By profession, I'm a visual artist, poet, author, and most recently became the community council president, which is like, a neighborhood in Cincinnati, where I'm responsible for being the advocate for healthcare, for services, for businesses. And I'm actually using art as that vehicle to connect everyone. This Global South, the South Global Envoy allows us to really build connections. I'm loving it that I can stay in tune with my sons and daughters in Nigeria and other parts of the world, and still have very effective collaborations where we're reaching underserved populations. As we begin and end this particular program for today, I just want to remind us that let's think outside the box. Think of the ways that we can connect with each other. There's no too big of a way. There's no too small of a way to connect all of us together, because art can change the world. And we're part of one of the greatest movements that ever existed. You know, as an African American in the United States, we hear often about the Harlem Renaissance. I see this as a global arts renaissance where we're changing the world and we're impacting not only the world, but we're impacting our lives. So it starts with us personally and it grows out to impact the world. Thank you to our visionary, Kun Lee. I just love him. I had adopted him as a son. And so I have lots of sons and daughters around the world. And I hope to adopt you all as my brothers and sisters around the world. So that's all I have to share is let's continue to use the power of the arts to change the world, no matter what vein we're in, whether it's business or professional or healthcare, or just even the good old connectivity of faith. Our art that we're doing by us connecting this first inaugural cohort is we are on the cusp of building this global arts renaissance. And so we're all happy to be a part of it. In my tradition of how I usually sign off and say goodbye or I'm done, I blow everyone a kiss. So raise your hand up like that. I blow your kiss. All right. You guys catch that kiss and rub it in and know that we are changing the world together.
Thank you so much, Annie. Thank you. That was really beautiful. I took my kiss close to my heart. So thank you. I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for joining, for all of our Global South Health Envoys, for everybody that spoke this evening. And I'm going to list everyone. Kunle Adewale, the curator and the development lead. Sanalise Lamini, Radhika Jain, Na Ami, Amy Lee, Christopher Bailey, Gigi Tonye, Vanessa Simon, Yelena Itzelulova, and Annie Ruth. Thank you so much to all of you for just sharing of yourself, sharing of your practice this evening. And a big, big thank you to everybody who was participating, speaking in the chat, cheering everybody on. I see lots of connections taking place. And I want to just speak about something that my mentor taught me when I started working with her about being global. And this is what I feel I'm seeing in this envoy, in that everybody has a local practice and they're making an impact in their local communities, but they're able to have a global impact as well because of these kind of connections and the collaborations that are undoubtedly going to form over the next year. I don't know about you guys, but I really am hoping to be in Qatar. So I'm hoping that a lot of us get together and we find ourselves in Qatar, just connecting and celebrating the wonderful work that everybody here does. A big thank you all for staying this long, and also for cheering me on. I'm seeing all the thanks. Wonderful. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Thank you so much. I'm gonna hand back over to for our last I'm gonna let maybe do you wanna coordinate a group photo?